Welcome to the Maltepes Show. I am Matt Maltepes, and I'm joined by George Zouvelos. He is a man of many talents, actor, writer, and director. He is known for his new film, Once a Week for Life. He's also known for 1780 and a plethora of other shows, movies, and etc. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, my friend. How are you doing today, Matt?
Good day to be alive. Every day's a good day, man. So tell us about your new film, Once a Week for Life. Give us a little breakdown for the audience, please, and introduce who you are as well.
Well, Once a Week for Life is about a film that's filmed 100% raw, real, not pretentious. It's anti-Hollywood kind of filming. It's filmed 100% on location in New York City, but mostly. We did some B-roll up in Boston and Connecticut, North Carolina, and other places. It's about a guy who's a lieutenant, who's a veteran Navy SEAL. He's addicted. He's a combat vet. He has PTSD. And he runs the New York City Police Department, the U.S. Federal Marshal Fugitive Task Force. And the mob is in collusion with the mayor's office and the police department to undermine him. So the police department is trying to get rid of him as the mob is, get him to retire, as the mob is trying to rub him out. But this is not a mob film. It's not a gangster film. It's not a high body count film. It's not if you want to see an arbitrary and capricious nipple or a lot of exploding blood packs, this is not that kind of film. It's a film about a guy and how these other people around him surround him and how they affect him. And it's narrated by me. And it shows how his personal life goes down the tubes, how he finds a love interest, and how he searches for the killer of his beloved partner for revenge.
Talking about love, where did you get your first love for filmmaking or the entertainment industry?
My love for the entertainment business?
Yeah.
Since I'm a small kid and we were visiting different plays, especially in Greece, I'd go to these amphitheaters and watch the breaking of the fourth wall by actors that were gifted to use the tact and poise and not the Meisner or Strasberg or any kind of Stanislavski method, but the ancient Greek method where there was nothing sacred about the fourth wall. They turned to the audience and they talked to you directly, most of the time with political satire and or the complaining of modern day issues in their communities. And although I went into the paramedic for the fire department and then later in the law enforcement, I always jotted down things that I would have seen in my head and something that has impressed me, whether good or bad or indifferent, painful or humorous. And us Greeks, especially in New York City, we come from a long line of oral storytellers. Everybody wants to hear a paramithi, a fable, or through mythology and things like that. It's the way lessons and morality and ethics were taught to us, including humor. And I had aggregated 5 coffee cans worth of these little notes I used to scribble down on old ambulance reports, on old police reports, on old fugitive reports. And you could tell, I saw one that said Eve and then Adam, and it was on an old hamburger napkin. It still smelled the hamburger grease from the 25 years ago. I put it in the coffee can. And my wife said to me at the time, it was during COVID, she goes to me, George, there's COVID living in those cans. Got to get rid of it. I'm sanitizing the house. And you love to tell stories, so tell a story. And I opened up one of the cans with a yellow lid. And yellow usually meant that it was reserved for something that was painful in memory, hazardous. And that's where my love for storytelling came from. And 1,500 pages later, on the manuscript, I have this film that was divided into 2 called Once a Week for Life, available on Amazon, Apple, YouTube. You plug it into your search bar, you can find a place on Google to watch it. Buy it if you can. It helps us with the ranking. And we have 90 days to move up on the rankings. And go ahead a high star if you like it. But that's where the storytelling came from. Also as a Boy Scout in Troop 23 out of St. Demetrius Cathedral in Astoria, campfire talks with long rides going to different places from New Jersey up to Connecticut, Pennsylvania for camping. They used to tell you stories. And when somebody tells you a story, you take the little life experience, data, input, and stimulus that you have, and you form a picture in your head. Like that, when I tell a story, I inject the images in your head, and then through narration and music, I try to lead you where I want you to feel about a character or about a situation. It's all part of storytelling, and that's marrying and finding the synergies of creatives that are not necessarily there just for the pay, but for the passion.
So you talked about how your Greek background really, influenced you heavily. Uh, were you born in New York or were you born in Greece?
I was born in Manhattan. We had moved up to Washington Heights and then over to Astoria. My parents are Spartan and Arcadian in the Peloponnese, a long line of extremely poor people, but very productive, religious, and honest, forthright, filled with philotimo and philoxenia, two very big words in the Greek language, which means philotimo is you do the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing, the love of honor for the sake of honor. And philoxenia is how you treat somebody when you have them in your house or you go out, you pick up the check. You want to make sure their glass is full, there's bread on the table, that, your home is your home and they're invited in like family.
Love
And that's
first.
the kind of upbringing I had. I had a strict 7 years of full-time St. Demetrius Cathedral of Astoria education.
Yeah.
Then went on to junior high school and went to high school, went to college, but never uninterrupted. When you're young and you're a male and your frontal lobe isn't established and developed right, you do what they say in Greek, to kefaliousu, you do whatever your head tells you and not what your better senses tell you, and that's my background.
Wow. So, all right. Now, we talked about your Greek background. We talked about your film, Once a Week for Life, but you also did some stuff before and prior. How did those experiences shape you going into this film?
I would say going to film and acting school provided me with a fundamental understanding on what the industry operates. It doesn't teach you how to be an actor, and it doesn't teach you the business of acting or the business of filmmaking and how to sell a film. The confluence in the aggregate of circumstances based on life experiences, loves, losses, laughter, tragedy, pain, suffering, the World Trade Center collapsing, losing brothers. I think when I tell actors, how do I become a better actor? I'm like, okay, you learn. It's a little bit of fundamental, what you need to learn from the school, but you got to live your life. Go to plays, go to the ballet, go to opera, live your life, go to the beach, live, love, laugh, hurt, take risks. But when you fall, because we're human, we all fall, get up and move in any direction, but always move forward, because the cemeteries are filled with unfinished business and regret. And I think the character Adam Galanis was a lieutenant who runs the fugitive task force into Once a Week for Life. I think that's how he was bred. And he's the culmination of all his life's experience. He's street smart, and I consider myself street wise. I don't know about smart. He's not pretentious. He's bombastic. He's very Generation Xy. A lot the way that I cut off?
No, you're good.
Yeah, the way I was raised, and in my writing, I also do the same from things that I've actually heard. The cadence of a voice, whether it came out of a Gambino's mouth or Lucchese's mouth, or whether it came from an old man or a young man, to actually listen and observe, because, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you learn how to buy, not to sell. And if I didn't have to do these interviews, I like to talk to people face to face. I like to sit down, have a gyro, laugh a little bit. I like to come down to Philly, get a Boston cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak, Boston lager, with a Boston lager, and meet your dad, meet our mutual friend Teddy over at Cosmos Philly.
Shout out to Cosmos.
Go thank the people down at Oak Center for putting up our film. It's an indie film, and it's self-funded. So we got zero help, and honestly, nobody cares, and nor should they, how difficult it was to make this film. And the acting was so good from these actors who appeared in over 200 Academy and award-winning and Primetime Emmy award-winning, etc. films and television. To get those people together, some of them were bigger egos than others, but most of them I became very close friends with, as you can see on my Facebook and my Instagram. They're more than happy to do a promo video for me, because they know it's self-funded. They love the script. They said it was a treasure trove of original writing. They saw the filming, more like Cassavetes, Sidney Lumet, some Wes Anderson shots, Spielberg close-ups, early Coppola. Very uniquely George Zouvelos like the script. And there's nothing cliche in my film. We don't say gabagool. We don't say mozzarella. You won't see a high body count or blood splattered. The guns actually shot are ones that were sounds that we got from the firing range for the actual weapon. They're not overly loud or overly low. It's not about the guns and the badges and and the tired old cliches and the stereotyping of Italians, Irish. It's just the way people speak, and you can talk about it. And we talk about Greeks too in the film. It's who this guy is. He's a Greek American.
So you talked about the actors and interacting with them, and some you've become friends with. That's one thing I want to ask about, because everyone has a different experience, a lot of different directors, different even actors. So what is it like dealing with the actors and actresses?
They'll tell you I'm an actor's director. Yeah. Just because I have the title director doesn't make me, the fish stinks from the head down always. But it gives me a responsibility, because my job as a director started with the casting, and I get an actor to come in and I give them a little background on the on where they are, because none of the actors in my film got the script. They only got their scenes. I didn't want to jeopardize, their acting. I didn't want them to act a certain way based on what might happen, because nobody in the scene knows what's going to happen next. Like when you and I have a conversation, I don't know what you're going to say. I have to listen to answer. And that's the difference between a good actor and one that needs to learn how to wait and listen and then respond in a way where they did not know what the question or the conversation would lead. And that kind of timing can be fixed in post-production, but that takes a lot more. And when you have seasoned veterans working seamlessly with relatively unknown but gifted actors like Jimmy Schertz and Arthur Hugh and Stu Raplogle, these guys up from Massachusetts, and Christina Mavronis, the amazing Diana Durango, who came up from Tampa, Vigil Boss, and Brian Sterling Chan from Ithaca, New York, and the litany of exceptional performers that were never given the opportunity to be in Academy and Primetime Emmy Award-winning films and television. I was able to successfully assemble an ensemble of very gifted veteran actors and put them in scenes with actors like myself. I mean, I've been on network TV. I've been on CBS, NBC, ABC, nothing big. But now I have the lead role, and I have the lead role I have to act, I have to direct. Thank God I had a good director of photography, George Zouvelos. He's an Emmy Award winner. And although he couldn't be there all the time because he works for CBS, it made dealing with these actors, the guys call me every week. People like Armin Garrow, I speak to almost daily. Dick Grant Tulane, he was on The Blacklist. He was in The Night Agent. He was in G.I. Joe. He was on The Walking Dead. Armin was in The Departed. He was in Coda. He was in Sopranos. Artie Pasquale in The Sopranos. Al Sapienza, the hardest working man in Hollywood. Oksana Lada, Tony Soprano's girlfriend, the sweetheart. She just sent me a self-tape. Tony Darrow, Lou Martini, he was in The Godfather and so many other things. And John Bianco and the litany of other people that came in, and we broke bread. And remember, I didn't have them for days. I had them for one day, and I had to do 4 scenes with them because they're not always all available. These guys are busy people. Robert Finaro especially, a tremendous actor. So if you look at the first, have you seen the film?
Yes, I actually watched it today before it came on.
Good. And what did you think of it?
I did. So there's a lot of shots I liked from you as a director and film-wise, whether it's over the shoulder shots, certain things like that. Wasn't my favorite film, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to always be honest with you. But it was a good film, especially so one thing I realized is this, right? First off, it's very hard to make a film. No one understands all the aspects to a film: finance, the creative direction, the screenplay, the mood, the setting, the coloring, the sound, the different sorts of cast and crew you have, the distribution, the costume design, the coloring, the type of shots. There's so much to it, right? So with that being said, and obviously, it's like how I equate everything is to business, right? In the business world, I invest into stocks, right? But I'm also competing with trillion-dollar firms, right? Who have all of the money, who have everything, all the tools. I like the film. It wasn't my favorite film. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm always going to be honest, right?
Not my favorite film either, but I made a film that was an honest film.
I know, and that's what I'm trying to get at here.
It's raw, it's real, it's not pretentious, and after watching it so many times, I have to watch it by myself. It's like waterboarding. But I rather watch Departed. It's not, like I said, it's not a mob film, and I try to make sure that people understand that this is a story about a guy modern day Ulysses who's tumbling through a merciless life while balancing on a razor's edge. And I think that that character and the confluence of circumstances and his people that are around him includes organized crime, includes police, includes a nagging wife, includes his paramour, Diana Durango. I guess they're each other's paramour, right? Because he's cheating on his wife and she's cheating on her husband. I think it's a story. It's a story, and I told it my way, and I wasn't trying to be like anybody else or trying to copy anybody.
Yeah.
But it's gotten some acclaim.
Yeah.
And people who have the patience for films in a society that forever is getting close, and more closed attention spans, where they want to see high body counts, a lot of blood, a lot of special effects. I didn't make a film like that. The second film's coming out in September. It's continuation. It's doing very well on Amazon and Apple TV. Yeah. So if you want to watch something that's like, it's more like a Serpico. It's more like, even The Sopranos was 40 minutes of waiting for something to happen, right? It was backstory. In a film, you can't build backstory. We don't do transactional scenes that are purely transactional only with the lead characters. And that takes time to build up the backstory. It's a little bit arduous.
Every minute matters.
But you understand who you're dealing with and whether you like that character or not. So I like that kind of storytelling. Will I be making more films? I mean, a lot of the stuff that I write is PG. This is rated R, well, mature audiences. But it's gotten a good acceptance, and I can't judge my own film. I get my inspiration from the Bible. You know, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Something I want to get at that I talked about was how hard it is and how many different aspects there are to a film. I mentioned how there's finance, creative direction, screenplay, mood, editing, coloring, sound, cast, crew. There's so many different things. How do you navigate all of that? How do you navigate distribution? How do you go through all these things? It's very tough. Like when you do something from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, the total whole body of work, you are the CEO, you are the guy who's filling the inventory, you're the same person who's the manager, you're the same person who's the CEO, you're the same person who's running every damn store. You're the man that does everything, right? So there's so much respect there. And what I want you to talk about is how to explain how that all works and what it takes, the mindset to be able to do something.
I will tell you that necessity is the mother of all invention. And this is not my first rodeo making something. This is my first feature motion picture. And I've worked in television, like I said earlier, but nothing major. And I found out very quickly that when you surround yourself with gifted individuals and you leave that vertical part of the business, so you get a good editor, one that can work, what they say in Latin, in pari delecto, one and the same. And you get a good colorist who understands what you're trying to do. And you have a DP that says you can't do that, but I can show him that I can do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complicated than just acting, directing. It's also constantly, the screenwriting never stops. I mean, the script is not done until the editing is done, because I'll take words out of your mouth and rearrange them. And that changes the script, right? Or cut out what you said because it didn't make sense, or didn't sound right, didn't look right. Yeah. But I ordered the crafty. I did all the accommodations for the actors. Their airfare, their railroad. You know, I set up these red carpet events. You know, my wife has been a tremendous help for me, but she works full-time in the school. And the idea is to know exactly what you're going to do when you're using your own money before you hit the button and you execute. And for you to say that it's a good film, I take it as a tremendous compliment, because it's an honest film. You know, could it be better? I'm growing every day with my craft. As an actor, I'm learning how to get out of myself to be myself, because I can't judge myself by what I see in a mirror. I have to depend on what other people see in me as an actor. And I get calls like crazy now ever since this thing has come out, because they're looking for a not cliche big guy who can act and just sort of looking tough. So I had to be, as an actor, I'm the actor, I'm not the director. So I had to be an actor with the actor. As a director, I had to have the actor look at me and look to satisfy only themselves in the way they acted. And actors are brutally honest with themselves. They're very critical of how they act. And I'm not a 15-take director. The first take is usually the best one. The second one is usually the keeper, where you can interpret, 3 takes tops. And I don't go have a preconceived notion of how the actor is going to execute. And we don't have long times for rehearsals. The scene with the mobsters, that was never rehearsed. It's the first time those guys were in a room ever at the same time. And they've been in films like Departed and Coda and others. And we had people in the room that were in The Shape of Water and Godfather. And you have all this talent in one room, and you think they're going to have big, huge egos. They didn't. They had mutual respect for each other. And even with the self-tapes that they're doing, which they're not getting paid to do, they're doing it because they like what they've created. And they don't tell me like it's the best film they ever saw, just like you. It's a good film. It's honest. It's good cinematography. The color choices were correct. Wherever Adam was telling the story backwards, the scenes were desaturated and flat. When Adam wasn't in the scene, because remember, he's high and drunk all the time. So he's recollecting from the days when he was an addict and an alcoholic. And then when you get the scenes that are with the mob, he's not in that room. So that scene is crisp, clear, almost laboratory.
Very.
The Wes Anderson setup, the close-ups, Spielberg, the storyline and the editing with Billy Galatis, where we cut from one face to the other very quickly. I let my scenes breathe. Producing it is the hardest thing for a film, is to raise the money. I had some contributors, very small, but we had budget constraints. I was able to get a helicopter shot. I was able to get $5 million yachts to film on. I was able to get a lot of things, including locations, which didn't come out of pocket for, but added to the value of the film. It's called production value. So typically, these things are done in the studio more often than not. My studio is New York City. I use it as a backdrop, and it's beautifully. If the set designer would come and goes, "What do you want me to do here?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "The city already aged the wall, the rust, the red. I think there's some blood on the wall too." I said, "This is the kind of scene it is." The scene when I was in the gyro store, that long scene where I come in from the outside and I have a body in my truck and I come in to eat a gyro. That's somebody, the hair and makeup artist would come up to me and go, "I got to put some, you look a little puffy." I go, "I'm a fat junkie. I don't need makeup. I look strung out.
Yeah.
I look bloated. I look like a glutton." I said, "That's the character." Since the film, I lost 135 pounds because I want to tell the story backwards. And I'm staying this way because I sold all my clothes. I got rid of them. So you ask how it is to do all that stuff. When you have really good people that make your life easier, and only through the providence and grace of God I was able to do what I've done and not make one, but 2 films that are in the can. In fact, the second film, which is a continuation, it's really one film, is at the 30 large Academy Award and BAFTA qualifying film festivals, waiting to see if we're going to get selected. If we get selected, they will screen before September or October, and I expect to release it then. But the important thing is for people to buy the film, because from the $12 they spend to buy it, to keep it, it supports indie filmmakers. It supports the indie theaters that showed our film. It supports indie artists and musicians who crafted the music in my film. It was a carefully curated, even the credits have hand-painted, screenshots of, and that was done by Dick Giordano's granddaughter. He was the editor of DC Comics. He did Batman, the Red Goblin, Green Goblin, Wonder Woman. That's his granddaughter who did that. I didn't leave it to just black credits. I think, and I thought, and I still continue to think, that Josie Giordano's work is going to be watched at. And if I thought NFTs were worth anything, I'd put the originals up. But I ain't doing that. It's property of the film. The film belongs to my kids. We own the film. It's being distributed, but we still own the film. We didn't give up rights to it. So don't spend your house money or mortgage yourself to do what I did. I took years of pension and other things, and I put it into this film because I felt it was my time. If I couldn't back myself, I can't back nobody else. And I've been backing all these other people my whole life, and I got zero return on my investment. Yeah. So this is what it is. Get up, get off your couch, move in any direction, always move forward. John Capello said something at the red carpet. He said, I really enjoyed this film. And he said, and he plays my father. And John Capello's was in The Shape of Water, The Umbrella Academy, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, and Days of Our Lives. And he's a middle-aged woman heartthrob. He said to me, you started a parade, you got on your horse and you were waving your flag. Sometimes you don't know who's behind you. There's 300 people in this audience who came here and you didn't have to pay any of them to get here. that's a testament to you as a filmmaker, and I'm very proud of you. And that's a big thing coming from a guy like that. He's one of our most senior veterans.
Well, first off, congrats, and congrats on a new film coming soon. That's amazing, man. And before we, end up wrapping this up, what I want to ask is, what are you most proud of after completing this? What is your favorite moment? What are you most proud of? What really is like a realization of like, wow, I completed this.
If I heard you correctly, because the speaker's low, what am I the most proud of is what you asked?
Yes.
And what I learned about myself during this process. Public relations is not, PR is not public relations, it's personal relationships. So I'm having a conversation with you today. A month from now, we're going to have a Philly cheesesteak. And I'm going to keep up our relationship because I like people. When a relationship becomes toxic, I close the tap down a little bit. What am I about and what am I proud about? I'm proud that people came together each time in the confluence of circumstances under one sky, the same oxygen we were breathing. The sun was in a certain direction on the earth. And I'm proud that they saw the vision in the writing and they put their trust in me to tell a story, which I wrote, narrated, directed, produced, orchestrated, composed music for. Proud moment is seeing them all come together. And for the first time watching it, my cast and my crew, they never saw it. They didn't know what the story was about. And to get a standing ovation. And not because they owe me anything. It's but because I made something that was not cliche and cannot be described as The Sopranos or The Departed. It can't be described as anything. It has elements of many, many different things, but so does every film, right? At the end of the day, Once a Week for Life is an odyssey, a modern day odyssey takeover, just like the film with Matt Damon.
Coming out, the odyssey.
When he's a spy.
Oh.
I forget the name of the franchise. Born Identity. That's an odyssey. That's Ulysses coming home. Mm-hmm. And it has in it, the film also has a Romeo and Juliet aspect to it between me and my paramour and our fathers who have a contentious backstory, which will be fleshed out in the next two films. And it's going to happen. The second film is done. If I drop that tomorrow, that second film's coming out. And the first film was about character development and having a beginning, middle, and end that was sensible and not confusing. The second film is a lot faster and a lot more that more people are looking for. But I make films because I have to like them. Yeah. If I don't like them, then I won't put them out. And I don't surround myself in an echo chamber, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud that I surround myself with people that will tell me the truth. People wanted more sex in it. People wanted more exploding blood packs in it. People wanted more gunfire in it. I didn't, so it didn't happen. Maybe I'd get 10 more viewers that would leave me 10 stars. It is what it is. It's not what it is. It is a film that is a story about a guy. And if I would do everything over again, I would pick the same people and spend less time and less money.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing that. Question, going forward, where can people find you at? Where can they see the film? And where can they get news regarding the sequel?
The film has been released since the 14th of April after having its limited theatrical in Pennsylvania, in New York, and Connecticut, East Coast. It is now on Amazon Prime. Please buy it. It's $12. Give us a shot. Give us a thumbs up. Remember, it's an indie film, and it doesn't feel that way. It's on Apple TV. It's on Dish Network, DirecTV, Fandango at Home, Google Play, Plex Video on Demand, YouTube, some cable platforms nationally. We're waiting for Canada. Just type in Once a Week for Life. Remember the scratch off. It has nothing to do with that. And you'll find us. It's important to support indie films, and not only mine, but in general. Theaters are disappearing. AMC just announced, I think, that they're going to close in like 100 theaters because people don't have the time, and it's just you go to a theater, it's like 45 minutes of previews, and just Hollywood is imploding, and people say, well, Hollywood's coming into the sunset of its heyday, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me because I was never part of that. I'm part of the indie filmmakers who will rise based on what my audience thinks, not what my critics think. I know what audiences have said, and I know how audiences feel. And it's not a one. It's a good film. And I'm happy with that answer. If I wanted to make a great film, I'd wait another 5 years and be old and be broke. So Once a Week for Life, available on Amazon Prime. Type it into YouTube. You'll find the film. It's on demand almost everywhere. And we got picked up in the United Kingdom, which means Ireland, Scotland, Wales, London, New Zealand, and Australia. We're very excited about that. And they're going to be Hablamos Español with Adam Galanis. And I like to see how they're going to translate some of the words that I say in Spanish, which help, especially about the Macy's window thing. And love to know how that comes out of that actor's mouth. And I told the guy, find somebody that comes out of jail that's a rough and tough guy, not somebody who has an effeminate voice, because Adam is an animal, right? He's bombastic. And it's going to be going to 20 Spanish-speaking countries. And maybe he'll go to Greece, he'll go to Italy, depending on what the distribution wants. And the thing has to be liked from the very beginning, or we're never going to move up in the rankings. So Apple TV, Amazon Prime mostly, YouTube, and any kind of video on demand, just put in Once a Week for Life. Find us. And the sequel, it'll come out, depending on the first one, probably by the fall.
That's awesome. Congrats, man. I'm happy for you,
Matt.
proud of you. Thank you for coming on, George. I can't wait to see you in person when you come down this way. We'll grab a cheesesteak. I'll make sure you get.
Where are we going for cheesesteaks?
I got a couple spots, but one spot I do want to take you is Del Rossi's. Very good. They just got a Michelin plaque, actually.
Do they use Cheese Whiz or do they use regular cheese?
Cooper Sharp.
Beautiful. As long as you bring my buddy Vinny from South Philly, and then we go see Renee for some cannoli.
We'll bring all the way around. I got a couple other places I want to take you to.
Cosmos, and we hook up with some of the people that I know down there. Have been so kind to us.
Let's do it.
You got a plan.
Yeah, we'll get a whole tour going. Sound good?
Awesome.
All right, my brother. Thank you for coming on the Maltepes Show again, guys. You can find him. We're going to put all of his information in the bio description below. So check it out. Check out the film. Check out his social media. Can they find you on social media?
George Zouvelos, a lot of vowels, Zouvelos. On Instagram, on Twitter, which I don't go on that often, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm out there. I have a robust following on Instagram. They're not bought followers. It's people like what I put out and they follow me. And I follow whoever makes contact with me. Otherwise, they don't.
All right, we'll put all that information in the description. So check it out below and have an amazing day. Thank you, George. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks.